What you are currently listening to is the Central Indiana Sports Report podcast number 313.4, our summer report for Alexandria Tigers basketball with head coach Marty Carroll, co-hosted by our guy Grant Shouse.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengels.
Let's be real honest here, Grant. Alexandria and Coach Carroll did not have the season they were expecting to have last year, going 7-17. We saw some signs of some promise. A program that everyone around seems to think is going to develop into a championship level program again here with Coach Carroll, but did not take quite the step that they were expecting last year. But this coming year is going to be different.
Well, when we talked to him, his main thing is that no matter how old a kid is, they're capable of playing varsity basketball. And he said the bottom line about this team is that a lot of them were sophomores, and now this time they're going to be juniors. And so they're going to be more mature, more experienced. I talked to him off the record a little bit down at the Charlie Hughes shootout, and he said that they were 11-2 this summer. And that's really good considering they did not have a great season last year and played good competition. I saw them play a game against Monrovia High School there at Charlie Hughes, and they look better. They look like they've been in the gym, they've been improving, and that's what you want to see. And them hosting a league this summer with Elwood, combined with Elwood, they're playing at home. They're playing some familiar teams. They're playing some teams that are going to be, we're tough competition for them. And they're going to be well battle tested going into the basketball season. And I think they're going to have a better season this next year just because they're more experienced.
Grant, here's our interview with Coach Marty Carroll. Welcome back to the Central Indiana Sports Report. Alexandria head coach Marty Carroll. And Coach, how's the summer gone so far?
Extremely hot.
It's true.
But as far as basketball is concerned, we finished up yesterday, and I felt like we got accomplished what we were after as far as what we were trying to get done this summer.
Talk about you guys hosting that league every Tuesday, kind of joining that in with Elwood as well, and just how that went for you in the first year of doing it.
So, Taylor, we had always driven up to Taylor to play up there, and then, there were changes at Taylor, and so Ryan and I were talking, and there was he said, I'll just throw it out there and see if we get any response, if people would want to play. And so he did, and even said, we weren't going to charge. We would charge admission to try to cover the officials. And so I thought I was going to be driving to Elwood, which sounded better than driving, to Taylor.
Right.
On a summer night. So I was all for that. And then it kind of exploded. We had between 18 and 20 teams playing every Tuesday. And so we ended up getting to host. So we never drove anywhere, which was even nicer than driving to Elwood, to be honest.
Right.
So we hosted.
Nothing's nicer than driving to Elwood, Coach.
Well, unless you don't have to. If you gotta get in the truck or the bus or whatever and drive somewhere, Elwood's fine. But if you can drive to your air conditioned auxiliary gym, it was pretty nice for us. So
talk about as a team this summer, who took the biggest leap for you guys individually that you saw?
We found a couple things out. We've got the core of our guys are all back. And so starting out, it was, I had some people comment, you guys look much better. And the reality is they're a year older, and hopefully a year smarter, and hopefully, a year with more confidence, and obviously, they've all had a lot of experience, and they've went through honestly some hard times, because I've always said this. I think a freshman kid that's really good can play varsity basketball, but it makes it a lot easier if there's 4 or 5 seniors that kid's playing with,
Right.
and maybe he's the fifth option. It's different when, 3 freshmen try to play varsity together, with a couple sophomores and a couple seniors. Our senior classes the last couple of years have been so small. We were forced to play younger kids, and not that they couldn't play, but if you're a 7th grader playing against somebody's JV team, you're probably not going to look real good.
Right.
So, and then we found a couple projects, I think, which we're not blessed with a lot of size, and we've got a couple incoming sophomore kids that are 6'3", so that gives us a little bit of size. And those kids, Ian Canfield, Abe Abshire, got to play quite a bit this summer, and so we'll see. I think, I don't know that both of them can help us, at the same time, but we feel like, maybe one of them can give us some minutes throughout the year.
First time you guys had played in that Charlie Hughes Classic there last weekend. How'd that go for your team?
I thought both days. I thought the first game we played both days, I thought we played pretty well. And to be honest with you, both of the second games, I would say I was probably disappointed. But the thing about the Charlie Hughes is it's 2 full high school games.
Right.
It's 32 minutes. The clock stops, and
games take longer.
The games take longer. It's hard. It is harder on the kids. It's and it's no excuses, but I mean, it's hot, and then you play a game, you sit around, and you got to try and play another game, and that didn't bode well for us. So I told him, I said, I hope we don't make it to the semi-state, because we'll lay an egg the second game, evidently.
Talk about this next year's upcoming schedule. Are there any changes that you've made to your non-conference schedule, or maybe a new holiday tournament that you've added coming this season?
Of course,
Yeah,
there's no
I think
Madison County.
there's no Madison County tournament, so I'm sure you guys are aware of this, but
Yeah.
if you're not, we're us, Frankton, and Elwood, because we're all kind of friends anyway, and we do the youth Sunday afternoon league together. And so when the county thing fizzled out, we said, what if we did a holiday tournament and did it at 3 different sites? So I don't know if you know how it's going to work, but we're having 6 teams at Alex, 6 teams at Frankton, 6 teams at Elwood, 2 pools of 3. So everybody on Friday will play 2 games, and then we're going to cross pool, but we're going to play all those games the first year at Frankton. So it'll look like all the 3rd place teams play each other, and those games will be in the auxiliary gym starting Saturday morning, like at 10, 12, and 2, roughly. And then the 2nd place teams will all cross pool and play in the main gym at 10, 12, and 2 also. And then 4, 6, and 8, all the pool winners are going to play in the main gym at Frankton.
Awesome. And
Yeah,
so that will rotate from Frankton then to where the next season if you guys do it again?
If we do it again, it's I think what we talked about is that it would be at Ellick next year,
Okay.
and then Frankton or then Elwood would host the second day. Everybody's on Friday. Everybody's going to be playing at their own places, and then we're trying to do the final day. So people. So it's one location and just jam packed full of basketball, and people can go see other people and that kind of thing. So on paper, it looks like it could be really fun. Our only issue, because we're playing down at Edinburgh again, so we're literally going to play 6 games in like a week. So,
Wow.
but you're allowed 23 games, and I think that'll be a tough stretch. The other thing, I'm not going to lie, we're the 3 of us are hosting, and so um, we'll figure out who's playing where and all that kind of thing. But we'll go to Edinburgh and then come back and have a couple days. But what I do like about the 6 games in a short amount of time is then we're going to have, sometimes in the year, you don't get much prep time from game to game.
Right.
And I feel like it's going to spread some of our schedule out to where, on a second game of a weekend or maybe because you're just playing on Friday or Saturday, you're not playing Tuesday, Friday. I just think that's hard to, sometimes it gets to be hard to prepare.
Thank you so much for your time and catching us up on your team this summer. And we look forward to working with you again this upcoming season. Thanks once again to Coach Carroll and, of course, to our guy, Grant Shouse. Please help us out by sharing these podcasts with your friends and family, and as producer Susie says, even with your enemies and strangers, if you want to help us grow. Appreciate it. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love Susie.